26. That's pretty good.
26 Lucids. First month I got like only one. 2 days in, actually. Just like did some journaling, not any technique. And then I did miles for like 1 month, but the wrong way. Did some mantras and shit like that. And didn't get any lucids till that month. Until I've read the Skyfall guide, I upped my miles a little. And first week I got like 2 lucids or something.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Yeah.
Wanting to get better, of course.
It makes sense. And Ray, how long have you been lucid dreaming for? How many lucid dreams you got?
I've been lucid dreaming for 3 years now, and I have, let me see, 114.
114. Nice. So we got a little bit. I thought this would be a good idea for teaching because you guys both you have some lucids. You've been doing it for different amounts of time. It seems like Everest has got got a pretty good like run of it, but you have more lucids already. You have more experience, and you're trying to get like back into like fighting gear, getting all of the lucids right now. So
Yes, correct.
so I think yeah, I'm hoping that we can see yeah, I'm hoping we see a lot of progress between you guys. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking down at chat. So sorry about that, you guys. Um, Let me change the lighting a little bit. So, what has been the biggest defining factor for lucid dreaming? We'll start with Everest since we started with Everest the first time, and then we'll do Ray next time. Like, what helped you the most?
Okay. What helped me the most?
Mhm.
Okay. In lucid dreaming?
Yep.
Well, I have been only doing mild, to be honest, and I think I will just be doing it for like 6 months or the upcoming 6 months. I think it's the most tech that works for me. To be honest. Like I tried wild a few times, but didn't really like it because I already have problems sleeping normally. So doing wild while wanting to sleep, gonna make it hard a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to sleep well, then practicing wild can definitely get in the way of it, depending on how you sleep. Ray.
And
Oh, sorry. Continue. You weren't done.
no, okay, okay. Yeah, I was talking like learning a whole new other thing. Like I spent the months just to make mild work, and I figure wild would take the same amount, maybe more, maybe less.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't want to waste time.
Yeah, if you only have so much effort you can put in, then you definitely are gonna do better putting all the effort into something that you're already succeeding at a bit.
Yeah.
And Ray, what about you? What do you think helped you the most?
Well, at first I started lucid dreaming, like probably many of us here, to escape my life, to escape the struggles.
Mm,
And then I started like it was my only life, like waiting for the day or waiting for the night, then try. And well, after that, I started learning that isn't healthy to do.
yeah.
So I started changing. And right at the moment that I did that, I started getting more lucids. And then I started to have more fun. And well, then it all stopped.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
I don't know what I did wrong, but it just collapsed.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can build it back up, but like in a healthier way this time.
I really hope so.
Yeah, there's like an Adam Sandler skit where it says like he's like trying to pitch a vacation for people, and he's saying like if you're unhappy on vacation, or if you're unhappy at home, you're gonna be unhappy here. You're just gonna be the same person, but in a different place. And that's what I think of
Yeah, it makes sense.
when I hear all these people like, oh, I just wanna be lucid. Everything will be better, and this is this. It's like a lot of people that are struggling with life, they're struggling with their own thoughts, and then they're just going to be surrounded by their thoughts all the time.
There's no escape.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the only way to deal with them is to actually deal with them. Spend some time thinking. Spend some time in dreams too. It's always pretty helpful. So, one of the things that I have people doing is keeping track of their recall score. And I'm hoping to keep track of that. Like, I'm not sure if I'll have students on every time I stream, but I'd like to just have a community post and stuff like that to let people see, like, my students, what their recall score is, how their lucid dreams are going. So, Ray, what is your recall score looking like for the last 7 days? Do you have that number?
I think about 5.
Five dreams in the last 7 days?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. And how have you been working on recall?
Well, I'm not really doing anything. It's just natural. So imagine if I start doing something.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. And Everest, what about you? What's your recall score look like?
23 this week.
23. That's good.
Not my best, to be honest. Like last week, I told you I had 29,
Yeah.
but it fell off because I was not consistent at all this week.
Yeah.
Not journaling, not even delving, you know.
Yeah, life gets in the way for sure.
And I feel so tired, like to do anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking of like doing the 1 hour journal you were doing,
Yeah. Journaling for an hour a
but
day.
it needs some commitment. Yeah,
Yeah.
to get that recall up, but
Yeah, I think something that helps a
I need
lot.
to be more consistent.
One thing I think helps a ton is to have like a start and end date. You know, like try it for a month, and so then you're only working. You know, it's going to be 30 hours, right? You know that at the end of it, you're going to reevaluate. And so whenever you're thinking about quitting, you can be like, I'll quit in 15 days. I'll quit in 14 days. That's
Yeah, it's certainly better than like doing the 6 months just like one time, you know. Like, excuse my bad English. I can't get the the words.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think I'll do that.
yeah.
And that for me, like we are in day 7 now. Day 7 of the month. That's my like I started from day 7, so I what they say. I counted as this new month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For lucid dreaming for me.
Makes sense.
So I will start from today. 1 hour journal.
1 hour journal.
See what's up.
Yeah. It's good. I hope I hope that it works well for you. And a lot of that, it doesn't need to be like writing the whole time, like delving, sitting and thinking about your dreams, just time where you're focusing on putting good things in your journal, putting good memories away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like
Just dream time.
Eric Conch, I don't know how to say that. Said 6 months, 1 hour a day dream journaling is super helpful, and I can agree with that. Like that's definitely that I feel like helped me more than almost anything in my lucid dreaming. Was first 6 months of lucid dreaming. That's all I did. Well, not all I did. That's what I did for dream journal. Was every single day, 1 hour a day. Ray.
Yes.
What are your plans? What are you planning on doing for dream recall? You don't have to like say you're going to do an hour a day of dream journal. That's all. That's a lot. What are your plans for increasing your recall?
Well, if I can like journal for like 5 minutes, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Normally my dreams are very short, very fragmented, and I don't know how to bring them into words. So I just skip them.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
1 second. I'll be right back.
All right.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, I think that the act of trying to put them into words is really, really helpful, and that's the sort of thing that increases recall. I've put it into terms before where, like, we see children, well, we see babies that don't have the ability to like put anything to words because they don't have the words yet. And then as they get older and older, they learn more and more vocabulary. And not only does their ability to talk get better, but you can almost one for one track their vocabulary and their ability to remember. So a child that can has a really high vocabulary has a better chance of remembering earlier and earlier memories as well.
Yeah, makes sense.
I always like I mentioned before in the thread that we're in about putting really simple words in it. Again, like a child would describe things, big, round, purple, yellow, like just any words that you can possibly write down. It doesn't even need to be in sentences if you need to.
Yeah, like you just fill in as much words as you can.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
At least for me, because I have like 1 hour, so I have to write a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot to do. I had this. Someone just posted this on one of my videos. Let me pull it up so I can see give them credit for it. And this might be helpful for you guys. Where are you?
Okay.
Oh yeah, it says this is by Etzalon, Etzalon. He said, "Today I wrote my dreams in English, and when I finished writing it in English, I wrote it again in my native language," which is super helpful for anyone that knows two languages. Now you can rewrite it, and you have to put it in different words because most languages don't have one-for-one comparisons for words anyways. And then you're spending that time working on recall just by translating it, really.
That's a good idea, to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't mine, but
I might try it.
it's a good one.
Yeah. So sometimes I start mixing my native with English just to have more words to play with.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah, I learned quite a bit of Japanese, but never enough that I felt like extremely good, like writing dream journals in it, especially since Japanese was crazy hard to write. So that always threw me off. But that was something that I realized. I started adding in a bunch of Japanese words because there's just not an equivalent for every Japanese word in English. And when you learn a new concept, it's really nice to have words for it.
That's the benefit of learning a new language. So.
Yep, a whole new point of view.
Yeah, true.
I'm gonna pull up. My phone is dying, so I won't be able to see the chat if I keep it up. So what are your goals for lucid dreaming? You guys, are you both still planning on the race to 150, or are you guys not sure?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely.
Me too.
Yeah. So
It's one of those silly things that keep me engaged and trying.
that's good. Yeah, I think that it's like with all of the different students, we got a lot of different people at different levels, but 150 seems like I think Ray is the closest there, but since he's been out of practice, he's the one like starting the race a little slow, but he's already got a head start. So I think it'll be really interesting to see who gets there first. And what are your goals for inside dreams? Like, do you have anything specific you want to do?
Inside dreams.
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of goals for.
That's
like
good.
Imagine doing anything you want.
Yeah.
But like for advanced, I want to do a persistent realm on Hunter x Hunter.
Hunter
Enemy,
x
if you
Hunter?
know.
I do know Hunter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my ultimate goal.
That's a good goal. I'm a big fan of Hunter x Hunter, so.
Yeah. I love it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you know, be a character in it. See, like, not the enemy. I will be a brand new character and see what I can do in this world.
Oh yeah.
But I think lucid dreaming, like, I think I can do a lot with it. Like, not just entertainment, things to benefit me
Mhm.
in life. Like imagine you're reading a book, okay, a self-help book. For example, for social skills, okay. He tells you to do something, but you have to do it in real life. Okay, I'm trying to get the words. Okay, so you do the same scenario, but in the dream. So you make it habit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the dream, instead of like going up to somebody and experimenting things like that. Just as one benefit.
Yeah. You get to face your fears in like a safe environment and then go out and apply
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
things like that.
And definitely the applying it is going to be where like it's going to really take off, being able to it's give you the confidence to be able to go out and do that.
Yes, exactly.
Superb asked a question. He said, "What happens if you make a dream character who speaks Japanese if you don't speak the language perfectly?" And this I have actual experience with, because a lot of people say that when you start dreaming in a language that you know that you are now like conversational, because in order to get their dream characters to speak in a language, I mean, for them, they don't have incubation, they don't have the things that I have. Whereas for me, as a lucid dreamer, I can just go to a place where the dream characters speak that. And what ended up happening was I would try to speak to them, and most of the time, because I would make small mistakes here or there, they would actually correct me. And at first, I didn't trust their corrections because they're just a bunch of dream characters. But then, as I did that more and more, I would wake up and I would double check to see. And I believe every single time, I checked 5 different times, they were actually right. And their correction was correct and mine was wrong. So, which I think is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really shocking. That was one of the things that really definitely shaped my idea of what's possible in a dream.
But you, of course, like studied these things before.
Yep.
You know the correct things already, but you kind of forget it,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. I'm gonna have to end the stream early because actually, hold on one second. Let me double check. My wife just messaged me. Okay. All right. And sorry about the dead air, everybody. It looks like I'm actually good to stay. I thought I was gonna have to leave, but we're good.
Nice.
Read a book where some hyper-intelligent schizophrenic dude read the dictionary in a different language and could summon characters who spoke that language perfectly. Probably can't do it to that degree, but would be interesting how far you can push it. It's hard because I don't think that I'm not sure if it would work that well, but things similar to that can definitely happen. I think that might be a little too far. I think that most people probably wouldn't have the memory, which is the main issue with a lot of these things. The memory to be able to read a book completely in a different language, even if it's like just a dictionary translating one for one. A lot of things, if it doesn't get connected somewhere, you're not going to be able to go and find that memory. And just reading dictionary definition after dictionary definition is most likely not going to do it. Now, I like you said, I don't know if that's like supposed to be a true story or if that's just an idea of a story, but it's an interesting idea, and you can do similar things. But I don't. That seems highly suspicious to me. All right. Let's see. Everest, you said that you. Oh, it's fiction. Okay. Good. Everest, you said that. Wait. Hold on. I asked one of you what your goals were inside dreams. I forgot who.
Yeah, you asked at first.
Okay. Then Ray, what are your goals inside a dream?
Well, speaking about that, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I like the idea to be like overpowered and power hungry, and that I have to manage like not being consumed by the dark side entirely, but like tapping into it to unlock more potential in the force and see how my dream reacts to that and see how far I can push the dream control with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I definitely think that using a power system that's not just I'm in a dream so I can do this. Using a power system that's like I have the force, so now that I have the force, I can feel the dark side and the light side, and manipulating that. It's not more efficient, but it's more fun and more rewarding over time.
Yeah, true.
Let's see. Rishi asks, how can I wake up without moving? So I have a technique. It's called SMILE. It's Sensei's Mnemonic Induction of Lucid Experiences. It's a bit of a joke name, but the idea is that instead of like telling yourself one time that you're going to do something, actually act it out in your brain over and over the exact moment that you're planning on doing the thing. Similar to like you would study for a test or something like that, right? If you're trying to figure out like 8 times 7 is 56, then you have a flashcard. It's 8 times 7 is 56. And you have like a mental math that you might need to go through, and over time you no longer need the mental math, and all you have is 8 times 7 is 56. But the same idea applies to this, where I would say go lay down in your bed, imagine that you just woke up, don't move, do a motionless reality check, and then continue on, and then do that. Like I'd say do it 1,000 times. A lot of people don't like the idea of doing something 1,000 times, but it's better to just do it all like for an hour or two in one day versus just struggling with false awakenings or for the rest of your life. This should be something that once it's done, and you'll never have to worry about it again. So let's see. I think. Oh yeah, so we got Hunter x Hunter, and we got lightsaber battles, and we got dark side force, all that stuff. I definitely think the idea of like having an energy that you tap into is really fun for dreams, because we always have this idea of an energy like when we're awake, and like all the astral projection people all think that there's energies like that, but then when we get into a dream, those things can become there even though it's all in our head, and it's really fun to experience all sorts of feelings that can't really exist while you're awake like that. So I definitely think those are really good goals. I think that you guys were saying those are like long-term goals, but I'd say the short-term goals is you want to be able to do those things, like the small versions of it, just feel the force, or just feel N, and maybe try Gyo or try something like that, and see what happens.
Yeah.
But I would like to ask you, Sensei,
Mhm.
about like your first persistent dream.
Mhm.
At what mark did you do it?
About 700 lucid dreams.
Yo,
it's a lot. But I was definitely
700.
yeah.
Why? Why take that long?
It just seemed like it's something that I didn't have the knack for. I've seen people do it a lot sooner. And I've seen people do it later even, but yeah, just that's when it seemed to click for me. I have a hard time letting go of like if I have a solid perception of how things work, then I often have a hard time letting it go just because I like to be right a lot of times. So I'm just like, oh well, this is how it works. This is how it works. So I just kept teleporting to different places. I mastered teleporting to where I could teleport wherever I wanted instantly in any dream. And then I just kept trying to teleport back to the same place, but it felt different. So I needed to go back to the basics of believing that a place was the same as it was before versus worrying about where I'm at in the dream. And this is when I started creating Zodra, whenever I started treating all my dreams like they happen in one place. Snoreman says, it's my first week with Dream Journal. I already got around 5 dreams. Do you think I'm getting close? Depends on what you mean close to. You can always have a lucid dream. The goal is to increase your chances of lucid dreaming. If you have 5 dreams this week and not 5 dreams last week, then you're getting closer. And that's really all that matters, is increasing your chances as much as possible. I would say that if you're wanting to get consistent lucid dreams, like one a week, at least one a week, then you want to increase your recall much more than that. If you're wanting to just see one lucid dream, then I don't know. I don't know how long with 5 dreams a week it's going to take you to get lucid. The odds will be higher if you have more recall. Yeah. Oh,
Okay, Sensei.
sorry, continue.
I have like this problem, and I would like, some help.
Okay.
Okay. Like for now, every night I woke up like 4 times at least.
Okay.
It's been like this my whole life. Not my whole life, but
Yeah.
that's the normal for me.
Mhm.
Now I I have in one hand dream recall and the other lucid dreaming, which is just mild currently. Now when I wake up, like after experimenting, my max is 15 minutes. So I can return back to sleep normally.
Okay.
Now it take me like the 15 minutes, it take me recall. Like recall takes me 15 minutes.
Okay.
So I can do mild. I can do the lucid dreaming part. And if I want to do mild, I can't give recall, you know. It's full time. So I don't know what to do, to be honest. And that made me, like don't do anything at the night. Because I wouldn't get back to sleep, so you know, frustrate me.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I definitely. So at the beginning, when your recall, especially if your recall is low, you definitely want to put more time towards the recall portion. But I would say cut off your recall at a time where you can do mild, and cut off your mild at a time where you know you're still going to be able to go back to sleep. So yeah, I definitely think you should be attempting, especially with your recall. You should be attempting recall and mild. You don't have to write down every single thing during your wake back
I
to
don't.
bed. You can write down small bits about it and then write the rest of it in the morning, which is what a lot of people do. I tried to write down about 100 words per waking, just because I felt like that took like 3 or 4 minutes. And it would be scribbly, it would be all messy and everything like that, but I'd be able to see the common important parts, and it would also, just putting it into words also made it more likely for me to remember in the long run.
Well, I do that. Like journaling takes me only 5 minutes, but the problem with me is delving. Delving takes like 10 minutes for me.
Okay.
Like I just woke up, can't focus too much, and try to remember the dream. Takes me 10 minutes to remember the full dream, or if I had 2 dreams, whatever.
Yeah.
That's my problem. So I thought like of 2 solutions. Either I cut off 5 minutes from delving, so I have 5 minutes for mild, or I thought about like doing 2 wake back to beds for recall only, and the other 2 for mild. Like even the odds a little. But I don't see that a good solution, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
Like I have 4 chances. Why
Yeah.
cut it to 2?
yeah. Well, I mean, you have finite amount of time that you can put towards this. If you're saying every waking is 15 minutes, then you've got an hour. You have to allot the hour, however you think is going to help you the most. Delving should take less and less time as you get better and better at it. I think especially like for me, I used to just delve enough that I could get the keywords and all that stuff, and then I'd trust myself that in the morning I could retread that same path and get all that stuff back. But that took me a while, and I had also practiced delving for years. I've spent a lot of time on dream recall, even if I only started lucid dreaming at 20. So the option is like if you keep doing the delving, you'll keep getting better at delving. If you keep doing mild, you'll keep getting better at mild. So it's really at what level you feel confident enough to stop delving for a little bit and then do mild, and you think that it's going to result in a lucid dream, or that you feel that the recall is going to help you more, so you want to get that mild in. So it's kind of up to you. That's where like I can't really tell you exactly what to do. I'd go with whichever one makes you feel like you're going to have more lucid dreams. That's where I would point at.
Well, that's my main goal, to be honest. Just getting lucid.
Yeah.
But I may cut like. I too think that delving takes me a lot, to be honest. 10 minutes is not little.
Yeah.
So I will try to cut off 5 minutes and see if I can remember it in the morning.
Yeah.
Experiment a little.
Yep. Experiment, some trial and error. Ray, whenever you're delving, do you usually feel like you get the whole dream like in one glob, or do you feel like you have to like pull it out?
No, if I can recall a dream, it's all at once, and if I can't recall, then it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty common thing. Both of those are actually common. The one where you have to work hard to get all the details, the other one where it's like, oh, I just woke up from this, so I remember the whole thing. It's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Superb asked, are there more things like that where I can put in a lot of effort once, and then you get the positive effects of that for the rest of your journey? There are a lot, but it's hard to say exactly when what the best way for doing some of these are. Some of these things it's going to be easier to to smile them over time, or other things it's going to be better to just put in the work daily. I think the one thing that gives you the best effects for just putting in tons and tons of time is just dream journaling. I think that people, they think that, well, I dream journal for 15 minutes and then I'll do it the next day. And then if they think of dream journaling for 20 or 30 minutes, they're thinking that's twice as much. But I'd say it's much more than twice as much, and an hour even more so. That the results for dream journaling, this mnemonic thing, this thing where you're trying to get better memory of your dreams, it's exponentially more and more as you put more time into it. There's a lot of things like that just the memory, putting this intention into remembering things and putting it all in one long go is going to be much better. Etzelon says, I used mild for recall instead of lucid dreams. I'm guessing you mean mnemonics for recall, or intent for recall, which makes sense, yeah. Using your intent for recall, there's kind of a balance that you have to have with a lot of this stuff, is that you want to put your intention to lucid dream, but if you don't have any recall, then that intention is going to kind of go bad. So you really want to use your intention when you have the recall, and use the intention for recall when you don't have it.
Recall only, and the other two for mild.
Hey, I can't hear you. I'm not sure what happened there. You sound far away. We got some more question from Snormans. I used to wake up every day in the middle of the night, like the wake back to bed told me to. Now once I sleep, I just wake up really early. My dream recall is increased. Do you think I should stick to that? If your dream recall is increased, then I would generally try to work more and more on increasing it. But I generally think that waking is going to help your recall, there's also a good chance that if you're waking in the night and it was causing you less sleep or less recall, it's because you were waking in the night, not working on delving, or waking in the night when you didn't have enough sleep. If you're getting enough sleep, waking in the night, and working on delving and recall during that, that should almost always increase. If it doesn't, then stop doing it. But if it does, there's a checklist of things you need. You need to sleep enough. You need to actually work on recall. If you're waking in the night and not working on recall, then you're most likely going to be working on getting worse recall. Are you guys still here? Ray, Everest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah, the sound went weird for a second. I couldn't hear you.
Okay.
Askiam also asks, do you know any good ways to lucid dream without DEILD? And would that be unhealthy? There's always the debate about stabilization, whether or not it's whether or not
I
it's
had
actually
this
possible.
same question.
Oh, you had the same question. Nice. Yeah, and Askiam is another one of the people. Askiam and Superb, those are two of the people that are also racing to 150. And so I will have some questions pulled up by them later as well. But they're not going to be streaming with us. So yeah, the best way I think to increase your time spent in a lucid dream, the number one best way, and people aren't going to like this, is just going to be to have more lucid dreams. It's the easiest way. A lot of people are uncomfortable in their dreams. They don't realize that it's like this discomfort that pushes them out. They start unconsciously reaching for their waking life body. And I think this really causes them to, I must be dreaming. I'm in my bed, I'm sleeping, and I'm like, and it just, as soon as they start feeling anything weird in the dream, they think that feeling also must be the feeling of waking up. If ever your lucid dreams end with the feeling of waking up and you go into a false awakening, that's a pretty good idea that it's your dream control that's bringing you awake, not your actual waking up. DILD, I think, is really good for extending that if you go right back to sleep, because not only does it lengthen your lucid dream time and all that, but it also gives you the confidence that, like, hey, if I'm waking up, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I can go right back to sleep. What I also recommend for people, if you're worried about waking up, is to wake yourself up in the dream. Face your fear, wake yourself up, DILD right back, because you know you can do it. I had a thing, I don't know if it's actually true, but basically what I told myself is, if it's possible to prolong the dream, then I can DILD, and if it's not possible, then I won't be able to. And so basically, in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm 100% good at this. I can always DILD if it's possible. And then, of course, every time I DILD, it just proved me right. And every time I don't, I just say, it wasn't possible at that time. And I think that was a good mindset for me to stop worrying about dream time. Yeah.
But wouldn't it mess up your recall? DILD?
DILD from a lucid dream. If I'm already
They say
lucid,
that.
I don't care about dream recall.
That's the same opinion as me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would take the more lucid time.
Yep.
Fuck recall at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. Giovanni Martani says, how to increase the
Don't you
motivation
have
when I try a long time lucid dream and not having it? I think that motivation is overrated. I think that you just have to do things, and sometimes it's going to suck and you're not going to feel like doing it. And sometimes you're going to not even want the results, right? Like, I've seen people that stop working out because they say they don't want to get any bigger. I'm like, did you actually change that? Or was it just because working out was getting harder, you know? And I think that that's a common thing, is to change your mind on your way to the goal. Sometimes you change your mind for good reasons. Sometimes it's for bad. So I would say set a time that you're going to work on it from this time to this time. You're going to work on it for 6 months or for a year, and just do it then, even if you don't feel like it, even if you have great reasons not to, keep working on it. And also, I think motivation comes from work and from success. It's not what makes work and success. So if you start seeing consistent returns on your time, then you will have all the motivation you need. That's why I have the recall score, which is a way to measure how well you're doing without relying on lucid dreaming. You're relying on your recall.
Like for me, I like normal dreams too. So even if I don't have a lucid, I'm still happy. And I think more people should think like that.
Yeah.
That dreaming itself is good enough, you know. Not just getting lucid, but remembering more dreams, all that cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I talk about the
That's for
time.
me.
I talk about the time investment because people say they want to redeem the time that they're falling asleep. Because they're like, oh, third of your life you're sleeping. But if you're talking about lucid dreams, if I'm saying to dream journal for an hour a day for 6 months, we're talking about, 180 days and 180 hours. And you're probably going to get, best case scenario, we're looking at like 100, 150 lucid dreams that are at most, 10 minutes. And that's just the time investment just doesn't make any sense. Even if you look at how much time I spent on for my first 2 years inside lucid dreams versus the first 6 months of dream recall or dream journaling, it just doesn't add up. But it does add up if you start looking at time spent in dreams, and that's the thing that you're enjoying.
I like to think of it that way.
Yeah, changing your perspective can help with motivation a lot.
Like even normal dreams is cool, you know.
Yeah. Let's see.
But in the question of
continue. Sorry.
prolonging, in the question of prolonging lucid dreams, what method? Like, is there any other methods instead of dialed or getting more lucids?
Dream control is always an option because it's dream control that's waking you up. So I think dream control is what you can use to stay in the dream. One of the things that I do in order to get like time dilation or to feel like I'm in a dream for a really long time is I go to a place where I am not allowed to wake up. So instead of gaining an ability, I lose an ability. So whenever I go there, it's like there's a little bit of fear where I'm like, oh no, like I can't wake up. But a lot of times it's easier to think that you can't do something than to think that you can do something.
Well, that's a good way.
That's a really interesting way.
Mm.
And I mean, you can use this for flying in a dream as well. It's like, oh crap, I need to stay on the ground, and then all of a sudden, like your feet start leaving the ground. It's this negative recall or negative dream control. I've called it different things at different times.
You have to be creative.
Yep.
And that's
I have to try that one time.
this thing.
Yeah, give it a try. I always love different ways of doing simple things in dreams. It's always fun. We got a couple of questions. One from Akwemi, who is another student. Sensei, so you think the reason some people in lucid dreams sometimes feeling like they wake up, unless they do something to avoid it, is because they're not used to it? I think it's part of that. I think it's a little bit of fear of waking up. I think it's a little bit of feeling different feelings they've never felt before in dreams. And it's hard to say exactly why things are happening. A lot of my advice it's not going to be about the underlying mechanisms of dreams. It's not going to be about how dreams are doing things. Like, I don't know how dreams get time dilated, for instance, because sometimes I'm there for a long time and I don't see any time skips and I don't see any like methods that it's used, but somehow it's tricked me. And I don't know how, and I don't really care because I enjoy that it tricked me. The same way I enjoy it tricking me into thinking that I'm, a Jedi, or to think that I'm flying. So I think that if you feel like doing something is going to wake you up, you can go one route or the other way. You can say, I'm not going to do that thing because it's going to wake me up. Or you can say, I'm, the master of this domain. I'm going to do this. I definitely went through a list of things that everyone said doing this thing will wake you up whenever I was working on stabilization. Things like closing your eyes for 10 seconds, things like thinking about your name or your home or falling backwards. I did all of those things, and I did them multiple times. Some of the times they would wake me up, the other times they wouldn't. And then as soon as I got them to not wake me up, then I repeated them until I knew for a fact that I was the one in charge. Superb says he decides a quitting time beforehand. So if you choose a month, you have to keep going for at least a month after. Yep, I agree with that. And what happens if you wake up there in the no waking up place? I've never woken up in the no waking up place. what happens for me is at some point, the plot of it or the rules of it, it just suddenly feels like I need to leave. And so I just like start heading that way. And then as soon as I get out, it feels like the dream timer started again. And usually it ends within a couple of minutes of that. So I honestly, I can't tell you exactly what's happening in my brain, but that's the experience that I'm feeling at the time. It's so strange.
Interesting.
All right. So, Ray and Everest.
Yes.
We're looking at Ray. You're saying you're gonna do 5 minutes of dream journaling every day to start, right?
Yes. True.
You got this. If you
Thank
need
you.
to, like, you can post it. We've got the students thread where you can post it, and people might read it, people might not, or you can just keep them to yourself if you want. But if you need encouragement, everybody's there. Everybody's a little more active than I am. But yeah. And as always, of course, if you have any dreams of me, always at me. Then I love seeing dreams of me. I think they're fun to read.
Oh,
And Everest, you're saying an hour a day.
Yep.
Good luck with
Will
that.
take some commitment.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. So good luck with that. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go, and I'm gonna keep streaming for like 10 more minutes and just answering questions. Does that sound good?
Okay.
all right.
Thanks for joining me.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Okay. So yeah, I'm hoping to keep track of what a lot of the beginners doing. They'll be in the community posts. I'll show the different let's see, put my face up here. Boom. Hey, look, it's me. I'll show the different people, how they're progressing, how their recall's going in the community posts if they subscribe to that. Everybody, of course, that I'll be talking about is going to be asking, as I've already asked them if it's okay to share this. Let's see, we've got a couple more questions. Oh no. Mark Rodziewicz says, recall scores are roughly 10 to 25. I've been dream journaling for 6 months and only 6 lucid dreams. So how long do you dream journal per day? You say 10 to 25 per week. How many is it, like, in the exact last 7 days? How many dreams do you actually remember at this moment? You can check your dream journal if you want to. But that's the score I'm usually interested in with recall score. Is not how many do you kind of think that you may have had, and not like how many do you remember the day of, but today, how many can you remember from the last 7 days? I think that being able to remember the last 7 days of dreams helps a ton. Snorman says, how long did it take you to get your first few lucid dreams? That's a complicated answer. Basically, I heard about lucid dreaming on the radio. I read a guide on it that was extremely terrible, and I had a lucid dream that day. Then I forgot about lucid dreaming, and then a year later I had another lucid dream that was kind of random. And then I decided my wife was going on studying abroad for 42 days. So I decided to spend that entire time trying to lucid dream. And so 42 days later, I did not have my third lucid dream. I was just banging my head against the wall trying to lucid dream at the time. I increased my recall really well, but I just did not lucid dream. On day 44, I read Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming by Stephen LaBerge, and that caused me to have my first lucid dream. So, and then 3 weeks later, my fourth lucid dream. So it's a complicated question. So it could either be the first time, or it happened randomly, or 45 days. Let's see. Akwemi says, Sensei, I read before about a person which used to have lucid dreams, where he would have a watch that used to say the time that he had left in the dream. Do you think that could be possible and accurate? It could be. I've definitely seen weirder things that I believe happened. I think that something like that would be more limiting than it would be freeing, though. Is it true after a lucid dream you wake up exhausted? No, Snormans, that is not true. It depends on what you're doing in a lucid dream. If you're like having a nightmare, you're probably going to wake up exhausted because that's how you're feeling. If you're having a dream where you're floating along a lazy river just chilling, you're probably going to wake up really relaxed. Knowing that it's a dream does not make it an exhausting experience. When you're dreaming and when you're sleeping, your body is already doing a lot of mental things. You're not really adding that much to the load. The main reasons that we sleep are kind of unknown. Our body needs to rest and recuperate, it seems like, but all we really have so far from what I've seen scientifically is that there's things that get built up in your head and they need flushed out. That happens whether you're lucid or non-lucid. It just, you need a certain amount of NREM and you need a certain amount of REM. But also, the main reason that we say you need this for a dream, or for sleep, you need this for sleep, is because we're looking at what happens if you don't sleep. So as long as those things aren't happening, you're getting good sleep. I will say that some of the things that people do in order to lucid dream can leave them exhausted. And this is where I get a lot of people saying that lucid dreaming makes you exhausted. I wake up 6 times a night, work on dream recall and work on stuff like that. That can be exhausting if you don't have a good schedule for it, or if you aren't doing that through memory, but you're doing it through alarms. Let's see. Superb says, if you make a watch like that you would probably wake up after the timer, but that's because of the watch. Oh yeah, so Superb is basically saying that could be a dream control to wake you up, not to keep you in the dream. It could be both. And Aquemi says he wanted to see the option. Aquemi, I don't know if you're a guy or girl. They want to see my opinion on that, and I also have doubts specifically because I think the watch could easily change time suddenly. It could, but if this is like, let's say you're really good at dream control and you can get this to do it consistently, then the watch probably wouldn't change suddenly, because really good at dream control means you choose what's persistent and what's not. That being said, it could change suddenly when you're not paying attention to it, because that part of the dream isn't really there. And you're saying, how could it happen if you said it was persistent? Well, if you're not paying attention to something, things that you don't notice change can change if you're not going to notice them change. You might just get better at not noticing the change. It's a really wishy-washy way of saying you don't remember what you don't remember. You can't recall what you can't recall. Let's see. Do we have any more chat? Oh, we do. Perfect. How do I make a place where I can't wake up? I go and find them, Supernova. I look around the dream for that thing. It's a common dream control thing, is thinking that there's something there already and that I just need to go find it. I just need to go look for it. About 30 minutes of journaling per day for Mark. Okay. Last night was 3 dreams. Last 7 days is 15 dreams. Okay. So that, I mean, you're doing a lot of work for recall. But I'd say that with the amount of work you're doing for recall, you should be seeing more lucid dreams than that. Are you waking in the night and doing techniques, or are you just doing techniques throughout the day, Mark? Superb asks, do I mean recall? For recall score, the amount of lucid dreams you have in your head without journal? No, you can check your journal, but you should every day, in my mind, know what the last 7 days of dreams look like. I think this makes it a lot easier. I think it makes it a lot easier to recall what lucid dreams are like, what dreams are like, what your goals are whenever you have a good idea of what dreaming is throughout your week, what it changes, what your waking life does to change all of that. It's just so many words that I threw out that did not have like an ending. I think that you'll have a much more solid idea of what dreams are like if you can remember a full week of dreams at a time. More than that would also be better, but just work on it a week and try to get them in your memory and get them to stay there. You should be able to eventually get it without the journal, but I say recall score with the journal. And Mark says, so I think what you're saying is that I need to think week to week with regards to my score, not so much long term. Yes. I think that if you're working 30 minutes a day on recall, you should be seeing lucid dreams. If not, then your techniques might be wrong. Now your recall just might not be might not be high enough. I have really very specific ideas of where I think people should be depending on their recall. And I'd say that, again, if you're not waking up through the night, I generally don't expect to see anyone get a lucid dream. That's just my personal opinion for what I've seen with people that lucid dream. A lot of people disagree with me, and there are exceptions, but those are exceptions. And also, as your recall gets higher, you should be remembering those wakings through the night anyways. Have I... Pagan. No idea what that means. Have you ever looked into purposely inducing sleep paralysis to get lucid dreams? I'm a beginner to LD, but the dream I've been most lucid in has been through induced sleep paralysis. I have looked into it a lot. And from what I've seen, and this is just like the whole lucid dreamers, we talk about this a lot, right? We see a lot of techniques on how to induce sleep paralysis, and they almost never work for anyone. So it's just, it seems like the people that do say that they are inducing sleep paralysis are just talking about hypnagogic imagery or hypnagogic sensations. These things where they're feeling these things, they think those sensations are sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is when you wake up from REM sleep and you cannot move your body, even though you can keep your eyes open. This is a thing that's not likely to occur to many people. It does seem, in my opinion, that if you're doing things in order to increase lucid dreams, the chances of having sleep paralysis do go up slightly. It's not anything to be afraid of. There's more scary things inside dreams than there are in sleep paralysis. I will be saving the stream, and so if you were able to get sleep paralysis, you induce sleep paralysis. I'm not saying that I doubt that you got sleep paralysis. I'm just saying most of the time when I hear what people do to get sleep paralysis, it just sounds like falling asleep to me. It sounds like a normal wild, and they'll be having these liminal dreams, or they'll have normal lucid dreams. I've attempted to get sleep paralysis many times, never succeeded, except through a lucid dream, going that way. That worked for me. I think there it is. I need to focus more on techniques. I find my mind is wandering from my focused intent. Yeah, well, your intent does not need to stay as you fall asleep, Mark. Just to let you know, if you're doing mild, I highly recommend doing mild and then going to sleep. Don't try to keep it till you fall asleep, or you could increase your chances of insomnia. And when you hit insomnia, your chances of getting lucid drop to 0, which sucks. I don't know what dysgraphia is, so let me check that real fast. Dysgraphia. Neurological turning their thought into real. Someone has difficulty turning their thoughts into written language for their age and ability to think, despite exposure to adequate instruction and education. You present with many different symptoms at different ages. It's considered a learning difference. Okay. Will it affect your let's see, where was the question? I lost the question. It's good or bad for recall? I would say it sounds like it wouldn't be good for the recall, but everybody has their own issues, you know? Like I have ADHD. It makes it harder for me to pay attention to things when I'm not interested in them. I still try to do it depending on the thing, but it's caused me, you know, organizational issues throughout my entire life, you know, and that makes it difficult for me to keep my notes organized and things like that. It makes it difficult for me to keep my whole house organized while working on lucid dreaming. I will be saving the stream. Last couple days, my wake up to bed was less than 2 hours before I'd wake up, and the rest of the night felt like I was half awake, drifting in and out of sleep. Any tips to go back to sleep fully? Stay up for less time can make you go to sleep fully. Later in the night, you might want to stay up for more time or less time, depending. That's a lot of that is just trial and error for what makes you feel like you're getting better dreams and better sleep and more increased awareness of your surroundings and all that. What technique do I use the most? I used mild for about 8 years and 3 months before I switched over to incubation, which is, in my opinion, incubation, or mild is a form of incubation. I just used a more personalized way of doing it. Mild got me thousands of lucid dreams. I spent night after night after night working on mild 6 times a night and before bed, and sometimes throughout the day. Like, it's a lot. I worked really hard on it. It's very good. If you're expecting any technique to get you Omni, or if someone promises you that a technique is going to get you Omni, it's not going to happen. I don't think that Omni is what the goal that everyone should be aiming for. I think that it's a very specific state. It's not the most high level conscious aware lucid dreams that everyone wants all the time. And in fact, sometimes it can cause people to be more lax where they have less dreams like that. Your goal should be more lucid dreams if you want lucid dreams. Your goal should be more fun dreams if you want more fun dreams. And so be very aware of what you're aiming for with things like that. Okay, thank you for the answer. My teenage years, I got sleep paralysis very often, so I've experimented with inducing it, but I've only succeeded once, so you're probably right about it being inconsistent. Yeah. Yeah, I would highly recommend looking for consistent techniques that work for a lot of people. Now, some of the times they won't work for people, but if you're looking at, you have a really good recall, you've tried mild for 3 months, you've tried SSILD for 3 months, then you might want to start looking at some more crazy techniques. But most of the time, people have really bad recall. They try mild for a week, they try silent for a week, they try mild for a week, they try silent for a week. They don't do anything consistently. And then like, oh, it's not working. I highly recommend really good recall. Get your recall to the point where you're amazed every day that when you wake up that the night is still like was that long. Get your recall to that. You're going to see a lot more lucid dreams. I'm going to be ending here. I'm going to take my boys to the dentist. So any last questions or anything like that, I might be able to answer them in shorts or anything if you guys want to leave them on here. Like I said, the stream will be available. I'll do a community post to show all of the students. If you want to be like a student, I can't promise anybody that they're going to be on stream, but if you want to, you can always join the Discord. I'm on Dream Cafe as well as OmniLucid. I answer questions there. If anybody asks me, they're there. So it was really nice talking with everybody today. Had a ton of questions and a good time. Talk to you guys later.